Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because of the background noise, I think to mute my micro.
Okay, so we have in the last class we have talked about introduction to DBMS, right? What is database management system? The features of database management system. One by one we have looked all of them, right? Data security, data integrity,
Yes, yes, yes.
all of them we have already seen. Now, entity and attribute. What is this? What does this mean? Entity and attribute. We are going to discuss this.
Yes, ma'am.
Entity is basically any object. Let's say I am going to develop a database for our school management. Then what are the objects we are considering? The first thing we are going to consider about the school, right? School is also an object. Then we have
Yes.
students, then we have teachers, then we have some other staffs, right? So these will be considered as objects of this school, right? And entity is basically object. So here school, student, teachers, other staffs will be termed as entity. Okay. And what are attribute? Attribute is basically, so let's first define the entity. An entity is any object that is stored in the database. Each entity is associated with collection of attributes. For example, if you take a training institute, a student is an entity, right? We all just seen that school, in our school, student is considered as an entity. Now, this entity has so many properties. Those properties are termed as attribute. Like for a student table, what we are going to see the details: its name, his or her name, then what the age of the student is, and what is the DOB, the address, something like all these. So these will be termed as attributes. So a particular entity can have so many attributes. I think it is clear to us, right?
Yeah, very clear. Yeah.
Okay. Each student is associated with certain values such as roll number, name, course, etc., which are called as attributes of the entity. So, entity and attribute. Entity is any object, and attribute is the properties of these entities.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
that's it about this. Okay, now we have an entity student. We have properties, or you can say attribute, like name, roll number, and course. What course he or she is studying about. So there will be relationship among entities. Like we have two entities, student and teachers. Teachers can have their own attributes, right? Like name, what subject he or she teach, right? What is the address of the teacher. So among entities there will be some relationship, right? And this relationship between entities may be one to one, one to many, or many to one. What is one to one? And first of all, what is relationship? So between a teacher and a student, what kind of relationship can be happen? Like teacher teaches student, right? And we denote relationship by this diagonal symbol. So there is a relationship between teacher and student, and that relation is termed as teaching, right? Teacher teaches student. So this will be a kind of relationship. And this relationship can be one to many, and many to one. What does this mean? So a teacher can teach so many students, right? So this will be one teacher and n number of students. So this will be termed as one to many
One to
relations.
many.
One to many relationship.
One to many relationship.
Yes, yes. Now let's suppose a situation where a teacher teaches only one student. Only one student. This is very rare, but this kind of situation is termed as one-to-one relationship. And what is many-to-many relationship? Let's take an example of teacher and student. So one teacher can teach multiple students, right? N students. One teacher teach n number of students. Now n number of students are also not only taught by only one teacher, right? It can study through multiple teachers. Is one student can also study with the help of multiple teachers. So n number of students and n number of teachers. This is termed as many to many relationship. In our school there are so many periods, right? Period 1, period 2, period 3. In period 1 some teacher, English teacher will come, then Hindi teacher will come. So multiple teachers are teaching the same students, right? So n number of students plus n number of teachers. So n to n, which means many to many relationship between them. So in a school we basically have n to n, which means many to many relationship. If you take entity student, batch and subject, the following are the possible relationship. So we already have understand about this. Now what is data models? If you search this term data model in internet, you are going to find n number of different models. What are models first of all? Models is basically a technique or a way to store our data. Just like in our previous example we have seen that how we store our data in the file system, right? In the same way there are the different methods to store our data. We can store our data in our notepad, we can store our data in different formats, right? In the text format, in image format. So we can store our data at different using different techniques, different models, right? So if you search this term, you are going to see hierarchical model, network model, entity relationship model. We are going to learn about this. And this is relational model. SQL is basically a language which is going to be used in this relational model. This relational model is so popular that nowadays everyone using this one. In relational model, we store our data in tabular format. If I want to store data about a student, I am going to create table of student. If I want to store data about teacher, I am going to create a different table for teacher. So this kind of creating different tables for different entities is the way how relational model works. So it is most popular one. And we have object oriented data model. C++ is an object oriented programming language, like. And in object oriented programming we haven't learned about yet, but in C++ object oriented we store the and we concentrate different objects. So this is also one of the model. Object relational data model, flat models, many more are there. Okay, now what is data model? Data model is a way of storing and retrieving the data. Just like in the form of file, we are going to store some files, and whenever I want to, I can retrieve my file. So data model is basically that, to store and retrieve the data in some way. This is called as data model. There are different data models, but basically three main are there. Data model differs in the way they allow users to view and manipulate relationship between entities. Each has its own way of storing the data. The same thing which we have learned, that data model is basically the way how we store our data and how we retrieve our data. So obviously different models are there. So different methods or different techniques they are going to use, right? And we are mostly going to learn about relational data model, where the data are going to be stored in the form of tabular format, right? So different model provide different technique, different way. The following are three different data models. These are the main three data models: hierarchical model, network model, and relational model. So we are going to look all of these one by one, a little bit of that, but mostly we are going to learn about this relational model. Okay, hierarchical model. What is hierarchical model? If you Hierarchical model is something like a tree. If you have seen our tree, how is it look like? We have a In our file system, we also store our data in the hierarchical model. What does it mean? That suppose I have created a folder called student table, and inside this student I am going to create different folders to store different data. So first of all, we are going to create a folder. Inside this folder I can have multiple folder, again I can have multiple folder inside this, and there can be n number of folders, right? And no restrictions of there how many levels you want to create. So hierarchical model is same. Here you can see, if we have a shoes, let's say we have a shoes table, or we can say have a shoes folder. Inside that shoes folder I have created two another folder, women's shoes and men's shoes, and inside this women's shoes I have high heels, believe, and in men's shoes we have sports shoes as sneakers. So we store our data in the form of something like tree, right? So this is what hierarchical model does. It stores the data in the form of hierarchical. In this model, data is stored in the form of a tree. The data is represented by parent-child relationship. So what kind of relationship it exists? So this will be a parent, and whatever the inside this will be termed as child, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now for this woman's shoes, this is also a parent, and for these high heels and these will be termed as child, right? So this hierarchical model stores the data in the form of a tree. Each tree contains a single root record and one or more subordinates. Means this one is a root and it can have multiple subroots. For example, each batch is root and student of the batch will be subordinate. Let's say I have created a batch, morning batch, and in this morning batch there are multiple students I am going to teach. Okay, so this is what a hierarchical model does. It stores the data in the form of hierarchy. This model supports only one to many relationship. Now this is the main point you need to be remember. In hierarchical model we only have one to many relationship, and we already have talked about what is one to many relationship, right? So you can see that this is one and it can have multiple subcategories, means n number. So that's why it is going to term as one to many relationship. So hierarchical model has a disadvantage that it is going to have a relationship only one to many relationship. Now the next,
Okay, get you.
network model. Again, network model is something you can see here. We have a college. In this college we have two departments, CSE department and library. And now suppose a situation of a student. The student, let's say, have a studied in the CSC department, but it is again a part of the library, right? So this model is an extension of the hierarchical model. It was the most popular model before the relational model. This model is the same as hierarchical model. The only difference is that a record can have more than one parent, right? In our hierarchical model there is only one parent and all other are the child of that, right? But in network model we can have n number of parents for a single child. Let's say student is here our child. So this child has two parents, CSE department and library, right? You can clearly see here. So the only difference between network and hierarchical model is that network model supports both one to many and many to one. One college, multiple departments, so one to many relationship. And again, many department but one student, so many to one. So both kind of relation is possible inside network model. Now the most popular one, relational model. In this model we are going to store our data in the form of table. If I want to store student data, I will create a student table, right? So what is this? This stores data in the form of table. Table is a collection of rows and columns, and we already have discussed that suppose I want to store the student information, then I am going to create different column. Let's say I want to store name, so I will create name column. I want to store age, then age column, something like this. And different student, let's say I am going to enroll for this school, so one row will be dedicated for me, another row will be dedicated for different student, right? So rows will be created for different students and columns will be same for all and everyone students. Now here is the example of employee table. Here we have employee ID, employee name, job name, salary, mobile number, department ID, project ID. So different columns, but here we can see different employees are working. So row will be as a new user, new employee, and for all of them this column is going to be same. So this is what a relational model does. It is going to store our data in the form of table. So yeah, this is all about DBMS. We have learned about what is DBMS, and we also have learned about different type of models which are present, and we are going to now learn the most popular one, relational database model. So from now and on we are only going to consider and only going to learn about relational data model.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's talk about relational data model. Introduction to RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay, what is Relational Database Management System? A DBMS that is based on relational model is called as RDBMS. So suppose I am going to store my data in the form in one of the DBMS. So I have so many options. I can go for network model, can go for hierarchical model, and I can go for relational model, right? And there are much more. So suppose if someone choose to store the data in the form of relational, meaning in the form of tabular, then this is what we termed as relational database management system. We are going to manage our data in the form of tabular form, which is based on relational model. Okay, relational model is most successful model of all three models designed by EF Code. Okay, relational model is based on the theory of sets and relations of mathematics. If you have learned about theory, sets and functions in mathematics, you are going to easily understand this, and this is going to be very easy for you. But don't worry about that, we are going to see step by step. Relational model represent data in the form of a table. A table is a row, two-dimensional array. We haven't learned about array yet, but an array is something like this. Array is something about this. Let's say when I create a variable int a, it is going to store a memory location which name will be a, right? But when we create an array, it can have n number of sequence memory locations. So let's say n number of memory locations will be there. So it is a two-dimensional array, meaning we have rows and columns, right? Something like this. So you can clearly see it is going to be something like matrix you have learned in mathematics. Each row contains data related to entity. Yes, each row is going to contain what? We have seen that in our employee table different columns are there, but in rows we are going to have a different. Let's say I am the employee, then one row will be dedicated for me. Let's say you are also an employee, then second row will be dedicated to you, which means your details will be there, right? So row represent the entity. Each column contains the data related to single attribute of the entity, such as student name, and the attribute, or you can say column, is something, the properties or the information about that entity. One of the reason behind the successful of relational model is its simplicity, meaning it is very simple to use, it is very easy to understand, and that's why it is one of the most popular one. Another important advantage with relational model compared with remaining two model is it doesn't bind the data with relationship between data item. Instead it allows you to have dynamic relationship between entities using the values of the columns. Meaning we have seen in hierarchical model there is only one possibility, one to many relationship, right? In network model we have seen that one to many and many to one relationship only exist, but relational database model doesn't support these kind of things. You can create your own choice, you can create whatever the relation you want, it totally depends on you. If you want to create a relation one to one only, you can create that one. How we are going to create, we are going to look for this, but for now just think that relational database management system, RDBMS, doesn't provide any inbuilt relationship. You can create your own relationship. If you want one to one, you can create that one. If you want one to many, you can create that one too. So whatever kind of relationship you want, it totally depends on you, how you design your database and what the relation you want. Now, what is tuple and row? We already have seen what is row, right? Let's say this is my student table. And in this student, I just want to store name, age, and let's say roll number. Some background noise are there. Okay, so this is a student table and these are called as columns, right? And now let's say I am the student who is going to enroll, so my details will be there, right? Khushbu, age 20 plus, roll number 35. Let's say someone else is going to register 36. So tuple and row, so these will be as rows and this is also termed as tuple, so we also say it as or termed it as tuple. So a single row in a table is called as tuple, so each and every individual is termed as tuple. This is also called as row as well as tuple. Each row represents the data of a single entity, right? Each row represent what? If an entity is student, then a single row is going to describe entity details, right? If I am the entity Khushbu, then my details will be there. What is attribute and columns? We also just seen that student can have multiple information like age, class, address. So these are termed as attribute or column. So a column stores an attribute of the entity. For example, if details of students are stored, then student name is an attribute. Course is another attribute, and so on. So let's say I have created a student entity, and this student entity has some information like student name, student course. So these will be termed as attribute or column. Now column name. So these are the columns, right? And to understand this easily, we need to have a name. Just like if I want to store the data of a student, I am going to create my table student. In the same way, what column are going to represent what data, this should have a name, right? If I want to store the age of students, so I will give the name of column as age. So this is what a column is. Each column in the table is given a name. This name is used to refer to value in the column. And we also give what kind of which entity, which entity's data I am going to store. I need to specify a table name as well. So this is what as a termed as table name.
Yes, ma'am, I get you.
Okay. Now key. We are going to have a separate class for this key concept, but for now a brief introduction of the key. Let's say I want to store student details. So obviously I will create a student table. Now I want to store name, age, or say something which course you want to learn, right? So these kind of information I want. Now let's say someone student named XYZ came to me. His age is 20 and he want to learn C++. Okay, I will enroll this. Now let's say another student TC, age is 22 and he or she wants to learn SQL. So I enroll there this also. Now let's say again someone XYZ with the same name. This can happen, right? In this world we have so many people with this same name. So this student has also named XYZ and his age is also 20, but he wants to learn SQL. Now there is a problem arises. If I will tell or write a message, XYZ please join our class, then which XYZ is going to consider this message, whether this one or this one? So they both will be confused, as well as I will also be confused that which XYZ is for C++ and which XYZ for SQL, right? So these kind of things can happen to us because we are living in a world where so many people have same name, right? So how to overcome this problem? Let's say this is our table and we are going to store in the same format. Then how I am going to be very sure that this XYZ should not confuse with this XYZ? So to overcome this problem, we are going to have a different column, student ID, or you can say roll number. I will provide a roll number to each and every student with a unique value. If this XYZ value roll number is 1, this is going to be 2, this is going to be 3. Now when I say someone roll number 1 XYZ please join our class, so now this will be very sure, okay, my roll number is 1, so ma'am is asking for me to join, right? So we are going to create a different column, a column which is going to have a unique value for each and every student. This will be termed as our primary key. So for now roll number is our primary key because this roll number is used to identify each and every student uniquely, that this XYZ is not same as this XYZ, right? Now the definition. a table contain the data related entities, right? If a student table is there, then I'm going to obviously store student details like name, age. If you take a student table, it contains data related to students. For each student there will be one row in the table must be uniquely identified. In order to identify each entity uniquely in the table, we use a column in the table. That column which is uniquely identify entities in the table is called as primary key. Just the roll number is going to be used as a primary key because this roll number is only unique for each and every student, and this roll number help us to identify each and every student uniquely, that this xyz is not same as this xyz. So this column is termed as primary key. So this is written the same. In case of a student table, we can use roll number as the primary key as it is not duplicate. So a primary key can be defined as a set of columns used to uniquely identify rows of a table. Now let's think of another situation. Let's say for us, for now this roll number help us to uniquely identify, right? Name and course. Now I ran a school, right? So in my school there will be different classes, different courses. Let's say class 1, class 2 have again different student table. Now this roll number is going to be repeated with this class. Let's say I in class 1, class 2, class 1, class 2. So this class 1 has also going to be roll number start from 1 to up to n. This one also has 1 up to n, right? So now the same situation arises, that how I am going to identify each and every column or row as a unique student. So sometimes happens what is that only a single column is not help us, only a single column doesn't provide the unique. Let's say I say this roll number xyz and this say 2xyz. So now this is for us in class 1. So this is going to be uniquely identify this xyz with this xyz. Now in class 2, I again have the same roll number start, roll number 1, and this one is the TC, and roll number 2 xyz. Different class but with the same student name. So now I'll again get confused that which one is the xyz of class 2 and class 1. So this kind of situation can arise again. So how to again unique identify? Now one roll number is not going to serve our purpose. I need to combine the class name as well, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So this roll number is 1, class name is, let's say he reads in LKG and his name is XYZ and he wants to learn C++. Class roll number 2, his name is, he reads in UKG and his again name is XYZ and he wants to learn SQL. So these two columns are combinedly is going to identify each row. If I just say XYZ roll number 1, then I cannot easily identify which class XYZ. So when we combine more than one columns to identify, then these will be termed as again primary key but combined with two columns. As example, account number in bank, employee number of an employee, etc. These are termed as primary key. What is composite primary key? This is one I just explained. When a single row cannot be used to uniquely identify each row, we combine two or more rows to uniquely identify, right? So this is what we termed as composite primary key. When we use two or more than two more than two columns to uniquely identify row, this will be termed as composite primary key. In some table, a single column cannot be used to uniquely identify entities or rows. In that case, we have to use two or more columns to uniquely identify rows of the table. Right? So when a primary key contains two or more columns, it is called as composite primary key. If you have still any doubt, don't worry about that, because we are going to deal with these key in a great detail in one of our classes, because there are much more keys.
Okay.
Now foreign key. What is foreign key? We already have learned that in our relational database management system, we used to store our data in the form of tabular, right? In the form of table, you may say. In the form of table. So let's say, suppose I have created one teacher table and one student table. Teacher's detail is ID, teacher ID and teacher name, or you can say teacher number or something like that. I just given the name ID. Let's say 1 Khushbu, 2 Resu, and student table we have student ID and we have name, and let's say 1 XYZ, 2 BP and 3 XYT, XZT. Okay, something like this. Now I want to know that which teacher teaches which students. How can I understand this? How can I know this? Because there is completely two different tables, teacher and student. Now I want to know that which teacher, let's say Khushbu, teaches whose students, I mean whom students she teach, whether XYZ, BP, XJT, or maybe XYZ or XZT, both of them. So to know that, I'll create one more column, teacher ID. In this teacher ID, I am going to store the ID of teacher, that this student is teach or taught by this teacher. So let's say XYZ study use Khushbu. So Khushbu teacher ID is 1. So I will just mention Khushbu here. This BP is taught by Reshu, so I'll just here Reshu here, and this one also by Khushbu. So now foreign key is what? When we use a column something like this to connect this table with this table, this is what we called as foreign key.
I get you, ma'am.
In relational model, we often
So,
store data.
so,
Uh-huh.
so in other words, for foreign key must be used where we have more than two primary keys.
Yes, yes, yes. We are going to see the practical example of this as well, because it will be quite confusing for you to properly understand this for now, because these are the just theoretical part.
Okay.
So we are going to have a scene about all these one by one. And now integrity rule. Oh, what the time it is. Okay, so we need to finish this class for now.